Let me This is the Department of Interior Design and Fashion Merchandising Virtual Academic Night. So thank you all first off for taking your time to be here and listen to what we have to say. We are going to record this, so don't feel like if you miss anything, please ask us questions in the chat. Somebody will be monitoring the chat. And then we'll have a time for a Q&A at the end of the presentation as well. So we'll be going over 2 degrees tonight. The BS in Fashion Merchandising and the BS in Interior Design. My name is Kelly Dill. I'm the academic advisor for both Fashion Merchandising and Interior Design. We also have Mrs. Kelsey Webster here, who advises for our Interior Design majors as well. And then Miss Corey Krajewski. She is our HHP student ambassador, and I will let her tell you more about that in a little bit. But she's also a senior in Interior Design. She's done multiple internships, so if that's something you're interested in, she's going to have a lot of knowledge on that, and I think she'll actually even be able to share some of her portfolios with us as well. So if you feel inclined to, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, where you're from. It could be a good way to meet future classmates. And then again, as we're going through the presentation, feel free to ask questions in the chat, or even, raise your hand and unmute yourself. So I am going to actually turn it over to Miss Kelsey Webster now. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Yes, again, my name is Kelsey Webster, and I do advise for the interior design major, but I am somewhat familiar with the fashion merchandising major as well. So I'm going to conduct our brief presentation on both majors. So let me just share. Okay. Can everyone see that okay?
Yep, we can see it. You're good.
Great. All right. All right. So yes, as Kelly said, this is for our Department of Interior Design and Fashion Merchandising. And we are going to get started with the fashion merchandising major. So the official name of our major is Fashion Merchandising and Consumer Studies. And going right into what is merchandising. So fashion merchandising covers most aspects of the fashion industry, from working with planners from working with designers to planning, developing, and executing a product line to satisfy the needs of a company's target customer. Our fashion merchandising students do wear many hats in the fashion industry. They work with product development and production, promotion, buying materials from suppliers. And this degree does focus more on the business side of things and not so much on actually creating a clothing line. All right, so who are we in our fashion merchandising major? We have 162 students enrolled in our program. Average class size is 35 students. This major is accredited by the AAFCS, the American Association of Family and Consumer Science. We partner with industry experts such as the National Retail Federation and Cotton Incorporated, and there will be more information on that in just a few slides. Our curriculum is dynamic, adapting to current industry needs as suggested by our advisory panel. And that advisory panel is for both fashion merchandising and interior design. And we have more information on that in a little bit as well. Promote hands-on and experiential learning, and students have access to departmental and college-specific scholarships. All right, so these are the program or degree requirements for the fashion merchandising major. A total of 120 hours are required to graduate. That includes 40 hours of general education classes, and that is across the board for all majors here at ECU. But English, science, social sciences, arts and humanities, math, health and exercise classes are all a part of those required general education classes. And then you have 52 total hours of merchandising core classes. And you have to do either an approved minor, so that's business, communication, hospitality management, art, and interior design, or those approved minor options, or you can do the entrepreneurship certificate or the professional selling certificate, and then 12 hours of advisor approved electives. The entrepreneurship certificate especially is very popular amongst both our fashion merchandising and interior design students. So if you have any questions about that, we are happy to expand on that. And then Kelly would have to tell you a little bit more about this, but there is a program where fashion merchandising students can complete their BS in fashion merchandising and an MBA within 5 years.
Yeah, it's not an official 4+1 program in the system or anything like that. But what you can do is, as a fashion merchandising student, if you know you want to go in and get your MBA, you can minor in business administration, and then there's enough electives built in. It's not really any extra classes if you know, like going into your freshman year, that's what you want to do for your undergrad. But we do what you call MBA waiver. So our MBA program has waiver classes you can take as an undergrad. And if you take all of those waiver courses and get, I think it's a B- or higher in all of those classes, you can waive out of your first year courses for the MBA program. So essentially, I have had students who have done their BS in fashion merchandising in 4 years and doing the waiver courses, and then going straight into the MBA program and finishing up their MBA in their undergrad and MBA in 5 years. So if that's something you're interested in, please let me know as you're incoming as a freshman, and we'll go ahead and get all of those courses added to your graduation plan.
All right. Okay, so this is a sampling of the merchandising courses that you will take in this major. So you have like introduction to fashion, merchandising strategies, merchandising math, e-commerce. There is a pre-professional seminar, fashion and culture, textiles, consumer behavior, fashion history, global economics, and there are 2 internships that we will discuss in more detail here in just a minute. But yeah, again, this is just a sampling of the classes, not all of them that you'll get, but a very good look at what you'll be taking with this major.
Yeah. And I can kind of elaborate on some of these, Kelsey, if you want me to, because the e-commerce class or the e-fashion class is a little misleading. It's actually a Google Analytics class for retail businesses, which is really important at this time in the industry. So you actually get a few certifications. I think it's a total of 4 different certificates or certifications within that course. And then the textiles lecturing lab is actually a lot of fun. You get to test different fabrics. You get to put them under a microscope and view them, try to set them on fire. They do a lot of different tests in there, which is really cool. And then visual merchandising is always important. We actually have an alum now who is the regional visual merchandiser for Gucci. So she does all the window displays for the Gucci stores as they open up. So I know they just opened up an accessory store somewhere in Charlotte, and she did all of the window front and displays for that as well.
And I just saw on Instagram that the textiles class went to a cotton factory in Cary.
Yeah.
That looked really cool. Yeah.
The national headquarters in Cary for cotton. And so they're there and they're doing a little experiential learning within that class. So
yeah, nice. Okay, so these are some common career paths for our students after graduation with their BS in fashion merchandising. So retail buyer, stylist, fashion apparel, fashion management, merchandise manager, visual merchandiser, store manager, store owner planner, brand manager, showroom coordinator, social media manager, which is of course a big one these days, fashion blogger, and trend forecaster. Where our graduates work, and a very fun fact statistic is that over 74% of our fashion merchandising graduates have secured full employment before they even graduate. So that's fantastic. But Nordstrom, Kate Spade, Lululemon, Forever 21, Crate and Barrel, America's Mark, Belk, Michael Kors, Gucci, Ross, Cato. So definitely some recognizable names there.
And I will say the other part of that percentage for students who don't go in or have secured employment, they're going to grad school or they're going to like an FIT or something like that after they graduate.
Okay, so the student experience. We mentioned the internships a little bit ago, so that they are required, fashion merchandising students are required to take 2 internships. They have one at the junior level, which is more of a retail internship, and one at the managerial level, which is the senior internship. And Kelly, do you want to talk a little bit more about the internships?
I can. The internships are 200 hours and you can only do them in the summer or the fall term. We don't do internship for credit in the spring. So we typically recommend our students do them over the summer. And the way we do it, we enroll you in a 0 credit hour class, so you're not having to pay out of pocket for a summer internship class, but you'll get the credit in the fall. And our internships are all over. We're going to talk about National Retail Federation in a little bit. So some of our students get internships through there, they get scholarships through there. But really, you can work anywhere. If you work at a local boutique or a department store, that would be perfect for your junior level. Same thing for your senior level. We just ask that your supervisor give you managerial type tasks or responsibilities for the purpose of your internship. We usually don't sub out the internships unless you're doing something like study abroad. So we do have a study abroad this summer. And one of those classes will be used to sub out for the internship. They're going to Italy and Portugal.
Yeah. So yeah, these are some of the internship opportunities, but like Kelly just said, students do them all over, local boutiques and stores work as well, but also some very recognizable names here as well. Some of the same ones that we just listed for where students work after they graduate. Okay, so these are 3 different videos on the internship experiences. Kelly, should I show any of these? I usually show the Lauren Neville one, or we can save that for orientation.
Yeah, we'll wait, and I can send that to you in the follow-up email. But you have to do a video, everyone, and I'll try to find some more updated videos, but everyone has to do a video for their senior internship. So Lauren did hers at a New York showroom. Alex did his actually in Los Angeles for a shoe company. And then Holly did hers at Nordstrom through a retail management program. So those are some links that I'll send you guys after in the follow-up email.
All right, so student organization, so apparel and interior merchandising organization. They organize professional field trips to places such as New York City, Atlanta, and the furniture market in High Point, North Carolina, which I believe is the furniture capital of America. Members participate in fundraising and community service projects. They also hold an annual fashion show that brings the greater community together. I know this is always a really big deal at ECU. Students really enjoy that fashion show a lot. Okay, and then the National Retail Federation Student Association is a student association that our students do have the opportunity to work with. And through our partnership with the NRF, we've been able to send high-performing students to the NRF Big Show, a national retail conference, which is in New York City, where students meet and work with industry professionals. They receive prestigious scholarships, internships, and job offers by participating in this event. And a couple of our students have also been in the top 25% nationwide for scholarships offered by the NRF.
Yeah, this is a big connection for us because they do seek out our students, which we're incredibly lucky because they know how well our students are prepared and they know what kind of students we can offer for these internships. They did recently go to New York in January for the National Retail Conference, and one of our students was offered a job on the spot while she was there, which is pretty cool. One of our students through there a couple of years ago, she got an internship in New York City through Kohl's, and now she's actually working at Kohl's headquarters in New York. So this is a really big stepping stone. And that's why we do the internships, to get your foot in the door and to network, because it's really important in this industry in finding a job whenever you graduate.
All right, so some of those industry tools. Students learn how to use various digital tools required in fashion merchandising, such as Photoshop and Excel. The industry materials, faculty are going to make sure that they integrate industry documents, case studies, and data into the classroom to create real-world activities and keep, their curriculum up to date. And then hands-on learning, so students work with local industry professionals to carry out class activities, such as the window displays, and co-create products for the University Tartan. And then expert guest speakers. They commonly have industry experts as guest speakers, as well as make trips to local retailers for industry expert guided tours, just like the one we just mentioned, the students that went to that cotton headquarters. And then here up in the top picture is Dan Lee, who is one of the fashion merchandising alumni, and he styled Megan Rapinoe for her Sports Illustrated cover.
Yeah, he's come back and kind of spoken to some of our students before, and has met with some of our students when they do go to New York. So he's a stylist. You can follow him on Instagram. So he did Megan Rapinoe's Sports Person of the Year cover. He just did a few months ago Issa Rae and some of the cast from Insecure for like their Entertainment Weekly photo shoot. So he's one of our alums, one of our successful alums as well.
Okay, and study abroad. So yeah, Kelly just touched on the study abroad opportunities that are coming up for this major. And then I know in 2019, they went to, it was Morocco, Portugal, Spain, Morocco, and Portugal. I went on to faculty-led study abroad programs during my undergrad at ECU, and they are wonderful. They are a great way, to get that study abroad experience, get to immerse in another culture, but they're not quite the same commitment as a full semester abroad. They're usually about 6 weeks over the summer. So yes, you do have those opportunities in this major as well.
And you usually get credit for around 2 classes or around 6 credit hours when you go summer study abroad. And you go with a faculty member and you go with a group of students. So it is a really cool experience to do that. If any out-of-state students are on or listening, you do get in-state tuition during the summer for your study abroad courses. Corey, did you ever study abroad? No.
Sadly, I didn't. I got hit pretty bad during the COVID and when I wanted to do it, and due to my internship, I didn't really have the opportunity. So
Gotcha.
All right, so now jumping into our BS in interior design, which this will be Corey's area of expertise as well. But the first thing that we like to say about our interior design degree is that it is not like HGTV. It is not like interior decorating. This is going to be a very technical degree where our students work with contractors, architects, engineers, furniture dealers, and business and homeowners. You're going to take like the shell of a building and completely furnish it: electrical, plumbing, HVAC, lighting. They're going to use all of the most common software like CAD, Revit, Photoshop, SketchUp, and all of that. And so interior design is a multifaceted profession. Creative and technical solutions are applied to interior space. They are functional, enhance the quality of life and culture of the occupants, and are aesthetically attractive. It's about how we experience spaces and makes interior spaces functional, safe, and beautiful for all types of buildings. So you're going to learn about residential, commercial, and retail interior design. All right, accreditation and careers. So we are accredited by the Council for Interior Design Accreditation and the National Association of Schools of Arts and Design. These 2 accreditations are very important because they make our graduates eligible to sit for the National Council for Interior Design qualification exam. Corey, I think she knows a little bit about that. And from what I hear, it's a very tough exam, but our students, they get all of the information that they need to do as well as possible on those exams. This again has to do with residential design, commercial design, and mixed use. All right, program requirements. So just like fashion merchandising, there are 120 hours required for graduation, those 40 hours of general education classes again. Outside of the general education classes that are decided for every student, like the Englishes, Health 1000 and Kinesiology 1000, the only category that has any decided for you, Gen Eds, is the Fine Arts and Humanities. You do have to take 2 art history classes, but you can do any sciences, any humanity, any social sciences, any math that you want. And then the interior design core classes are 54 total hours of those. So of course, 54 plus 40 is 94, which leaves you with 26 hours of electives. A minor is not required for this degree, but we do recommend one. This is a competitive major, which I'll talk about in just a minute. So if you've been working towards a minor, if you're not accepted into the program, or if just for some reason you decide that you like your minor better, you could always swap and make your minor your major and add the interior design minor. Some common minors that we see with this major are the merchandising minor, business administration, communication. We see that entrepreneurship certificate quite a lot as well. And we have a good number of art minors as well. All right, and so here are a sampling of the interior design courses. The design fundamentals and historic interiors. the residential and commercial interiors, color and lighting, kitchen and bath, interior design communication. You'll have a professional practice seminar, an internship, and a capstone studio class. The color and lighting and the design fundamentals, those classes you take before you are a declared student in the major. And what that means is all students are going to come in as interior design intended. You have to take 2 classes in a fall semester, followed by 3 classes in a spring semester. And as long as you meet certain criteria, you are eligible to submit your portfolio for hopeful acceptance into the program. They accept 22 students each spring, and there's roughly like 25 to 40 that usually submit in each cohort. And your interior design professors will make sure that you are completely prepared for that process. You do not have to have any prior interior design experience or already have a portfolio or anything like that. Your portfolio is going to come from the assignments that you do in those classes. So again, the design fundamentals and the color and lighting students take as intended, and then all the other ones that are listed are for the students that are accepted and declared in the major. Okay, so this major, you're going to work creatively. You're going to do lighting, sculptures. There's student website designs. I really enjoy hearing from the students when they do their student website designs, to get to look at those because they all do a really great job. They do theme projects for each class level, and there are student competitions. All right, and adaptive reuse in Eastern North Carolina. I'm actually going to let Corey talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, no problem. Basically, we did a course. This adaptive reuse is really, really big when it comes to the interior design culture and what's going on with buildings and such. But it's basically taking the shell of an old building that had a different use and turning it into something new. So that could be like an old train station to a cool new studio with a coffee bar and such, or it could be a hotel building, changing it to a commercial building. But that's basically what adaptive reuse is. And because of moving and et cetera, and different trends that are going on with these old buildings, we kind of want to keep some historical content from whatever their old use was. So us as interior designers, we will use those sort of materials that are displayed, whether that be brick, vinyl, wooden materials, rugs, lighting. We'll take that and we'll also integrate that into the new building.
All right, thank you, Corey. Okay, and internship sites. And yes, Corey's definitely going to tell us more about internships here in just a little bit, but these are some places that some of our interior design students have done internships. So you can see that there are, some that are in the local area, North Carolina, South Carolina, and then some, in California and New York. So, have a lot of options there. These are some of our very successful interior design alumni that have their own interior design firms. You can see that one has a firm in Tuscany, Italy. So that's wonderful. Okay, and then the American Society of Interior Designers National Kitchen and Bath Association. There is a National Student Summit that happens. I mean, I know that the last time that they did it was 2019, and then COVID happened. But I believe
we have it this year.
Oh, they had it this year? Great.
We had it this year and the next year, so.
Oh, okay. Well, nice. Yes, but it is in New York City every year. And so our interior design students have the opportunity to go there. Now, Corey, you went, right?
So a little bit on Scale. Scale has actually changed the name to Gather. Gather is a student summit. It's a huge networking event for a lot of students to kind of integrate and meet professionals, because a lot of kids get hired through this summit. And it's provided by the student organization, which is a part of the interior design student major. On top of that, I'm also the president for the interior design student organization. But it's coming up this August. So freshmen technically will not be able to attend this one this year, but it is every single year, and the location changes every year. This year it should be in Los Angeles, and I believe our organization is doing a fourth hold and trying to get the new president and the executive board kind of set to go on this new trip this year. I believe that next year, they haven't released an actual location yet, but I'm assuming it'll be in Miami, Florida. This previous year, a few of us did end up going to Gather/Scale, and it was located in Miami, Florida, which was really, really fun and really, really cool to network with a bunch of different professionals and individuals.
What was Las Vegas? Didn't you go to Las Vegas, or am I making that up?
No, you're right. There's also another event that happens in February of each spring. So this is something that you guys could all kind of integrate yourselves in if you guys wanted to go on the trip. It's called KBIS. It's led by the National Kitchen and Bath Association. It's one of our sort of, there's three big organizations located in the interior design community. One is being ASID, which is the American Society of Interior Designers. There's IIDA, which is the International Interior Design Association, and then NKBA, which is National Kitchen and Bath Association. And the NKBA hosted a KBIS/IBIS event. So it was for construction management, architects, and also interior designers. There we got to kind of see all the new products, new trends, things that are going on in the interior design community that you wouldn't really get to see. And I think it was 10 of us in total went to Las Vegas, Nevada, stayed at the Luxor. It was very, very fun, an amazing trip. I would go again if I could, but sadly I'm graduating. But this is an opportunity that happens at the end of February. So you'll be all prepared for that, and anyone is able to go on the trip at that point.
Nice.
What are some trends that we're going to see in interior design from there?
Trends kind of depends. Right now they're doing a lot of, I'm sorry, my cat is being a pain. But basically for trends, what's going on is there's going to be a lot of sustainable/adaptive reuse going on with different buildings and different historical contents. When it comes to the technological side, I mean, the technology is ridiculous. We're seeing hiding vents when it comes to housing. We're seeing integrated stairways into islands. We're seeing just new ways of kind of making the house and the home more accessible to everyone. Universal design is going to be huge within this upcoming year because of the baby boomers and all of them, since they are retiring. And it seems like a lot of the design is going towards kind of retirement places, neighborhoods, homes, etc., and making sure that there's a lot of ADA compliance with that. There was also some really, really cool new materials that are being used for countertops, such as glowing granite, which was really cool to see. There was also some just integrated ways of like dealing with water temperature and using your phone to kind of connect with those different sources instead of having to turn it on with a handle. So handles might disappear someday. But the interior design world is changing, and it's changing at a very rapid pace just due to the technology. So
that's so interesting. Nice. Okay, and then the experiential learning advisory board that we mentioned at the very beginning of the presentation. Again, this is for both majors, fashion merchandising and interior design, and it consists of leaders from a variety of textile, apparel, interior design, and home furnishing industry sectors. The board provides industry insights to help guide curriculum development, connect our students and staff to industry networks, and also serve as guest speakers and mentors for students. So that is a really great, perk of these two majors, is that we have these experts come and visit and give their insight for curriculum development. All right, and then this is Kelly's and my information. Again, Kelly does fashion merchandising and interior design, and I also do interior design. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. And yes, that is the end of our presentation.
Does anybody have any questions before I turn it over to Corey? Curriculum wise, like I said, you can put it in the chat. You can raise your hand. Corey's also, aside from academics, will tell you about ECU and why she chose ECU and all that fun stuff. Best places to eat on campus.
yeah, please don't be afraid to say anything. I know as a freshman and an incoming freshman, I never wanted to raise my hand or say anything to anyone because I was too nervous. So if you do have any questions about the majors, I currently have 2 minors under my belt as well. So for interior design, just keep that in mind. You have accessibility to do a bunch of different things. And yeah, if you have any questions, please ask. And it's awesome to get a student view too.
Michael, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Oh, no, it's Mikhail.
Mikhail, okay.
All right, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is it possible to graduate with a fashion merchandising degree in 2 years if you have already completed an associate's?
It's not impossible. I would say you would likely need some summer courses, and at the minimum, it would be 2 years and then your last internship over the summer. So again, like I said, not impossible. That's doable, I think, if you're willing to do some summer classes. On the flip side of that, interior design is going to be a minimum of 3 years. No matter, how many hours you have at a community college, just because of the portfolio process and the sequencing of the courses.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
So there's a question in the chat. Does ECU have rolling admissions?
We do. So we will accept students as they are getting in, once they apply and they're getting in all of their requirements, their transcripts. I'm not sure if they're requiring SAT, ACT scores next year. If not, next year's going to be the last year. But we do have deadlines, and I just pulled it up. The priority deadline for the final freshman priority application deadline for this year is April 1st. So that's always in April, if that answers your question, Craig. Or if you're a transfer student, the deadline is July 3rd. Well, I'm going to let Corey go ahead and talk about her experience at ECU. So that may spark more questions as well, but please put them in the chat and we'll make sure Corey answers them, or that we answer them.
Yeah, so my name is Corey Krajewski. I'm a current interior designer. I'm a senior. I graduate in May, which is really exciting. I am also minoring in community and regional planning, and I'm getting my entrepreneurship certificate. So if any of you guys have any questions regarding those classes and what they're like, please ask me, because I did all of them. But ECU was definitely something interesting for me when I first came into it. I am a transfer student technically, but my father lived here for 2 years prior, so I did get in-state tuition. I'm originally from Virginia, like the Haymarket, Warrenton area, if you've ever been up there by DC. I chose ECU basically for the environment and the way that the major rolls. As for the environment, when it comes to just how ECU kind of stands, we're kind of like a big, huge family in this one kind of giant sector. There's awesome stuff to do on campus when it comes to just laying in porch swings or grabbing your own charger, because there's also secret outlets on the trees and stuff, which is really, really cool. So I'm out there all the time. There's a lot of animals and pets that kind of walk around and hang out, and you can go around and say hi to them. The library is open 24/7. I know I have been there till like 6 a.m. at some points during my college career, which kind of seems intimidating, but at the same time, these are college courses and they are something different. When it comes to where I kind of stay, I'm on the far end of campus. I know Craig had said something about seeing the facilities. Rivers is where you're probably going to be staying prominently. That's where all of my classes were. I think 1 or 2 were in Brewster, I believe, but overall, most of them. I've met my best friends on campus. I live with one of them right now, and it is just a crazy experience. It's a lot of fun. The games are so much fun. We have a blast. It's not like a regular college where you kind of just hang out and do whatever. Everyone meets up together. You get to meet new people left and right. And ECU was definitely something that I really, really loved. And as for food places, Chick-fil-A is where everyone ends up going at some point in their lives. So definitely check that out. And it's right next to Rivers. So for any merchandising and interior designers, it's the perfect spot. I go there during lunch all the time.
I like Cane's. I don't know.
I love
Me
Cane's too.
Kelly, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yes. And now we have the cutest little robots on campus that will deliver food to you. They are, Corey, do you think they're so cute? They're so cute.
I think they're adorable. It always scares me. It scares me a little bit because they kind of walk on their own and they're like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, oh, hey, like, I don't want to walking the other way, but no, they're adorable. We have
They
like
are.
25, I believe.
They look like
Corey,
little SUVs.
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah.
somebody did have a question, and maybe it would help to talk a little bit more about submitting your portfolio. I know they do it in Canvas now, but don't students get assigned like an upperclassman to review their stuff before they submit and help them, and then also, resubmitting a year later if you have to.
So yeah, I can speak a little bit about that. When it comes to interior design and the way that it goes about it, it sounds very, very intimidating, and it is hard. It's not something that's easy your freshman year. You go through a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic attacks. I know I did for one. But you get through it and you have a lot of help. The student organization that I mentioned earlier, the Interior Design Student Organization, actually runs a little mini program that I started this year. I thought it was important for our freshmen to get feedback from the actual students. So a lot of us have kind of taken time out of our days to kind of review all of the freshman portfolios. This can come from seniors or juniors. We usually don't offer a sophomore a position to kind of look over as they're still trying to get through the program and kind of get a full fundamentals of like what softwares and stuff are going on. But basically your freshman year, you'll take 4 classes or 5 classes technically. 4 classes being the main of where you kind of develop and figure out your portfolio. You do not need anything coming into freshman year. That's why that this portfolio was kind of implemented your freshman year, since you don't need anything prior to it. A lot of art institutions require a portfolio before they come into ECU. And the nice thing about ECU is you can actually develop it while you're there your freshman year. But yes, that is correct. When it comes to only 22 students get into the program, you can submit your portfolio twice. And then after that, you're not allowed to. So your freshman year, you can submit it. Your sophomore year, you can submit it. But there is a plus side to this. You can graduate still in 4 years if you end up submitting your portfolio the second time and do not get in the first time. A lot of my class right now are all junior seniors. I mean, most of them. I think 8 of us are true seniors and the rest are junior seniors. It is only 22 that get into the program. And I believe, I don't know how Christina might do it this year when it comes to how people may find out, but we got a letter sent to us over the mail that basically told us if we got in or not. It seems intimidating, but the 3 biggest things that Gusina and the rest of the professors look at is they look at creativity in your portfolio. They look at your GPA and what extracurricular activities you do while you're staying on ECU. I think I was involved in maybe 1 or 2 clubs. It wasn't extremely crazy. My GPA was pretty high, but it all comes down to that portfolio and just getting things done. And you'll have tons of help. Christina gives tons of critiques throughout the year, trying to make sure that you can resubmit your portfolio and making sure that it's all connected into one. And then you'll have seniors and juniors also looking at your portfolio if that's something that you want, to kind of give you additional help through portfolio review. And yeah, that's kind of like portfolio review in a nutshell. That's another reason why I chose ECU is not being, I'd taken a few art classes in my life. I never took interior design classes prior to that. And so for me, being in the interior design program was important to me, but I didn't want to have to submit something. And then as well as being able to get NCIDQ certified, there's a new law in the state of North Carolina that basically allows interior designers to be stamp their own construction drawings. So we actually don't need to be reviewed by architects anymore, which is really beneficial for the interior design community as we're kind of seen as architects. And that's another plus side to why I chose ECU in the interior design program. I'm going to show you guys my portfolio that I have submitted. And you do have, it is required to get an internship between your junior and your senior year, so that's summer. But you have a lot of help kind of getting through that. You have mentors your junior year, and you also have you also have the internship class, which helps you develop your portfolio and get everything done. So it's really beneficial to kind of have and see. Let me see. Share. Can everyone see that okay? Okay, cool. So this is the first thing. So when it comes to applying to jobs in the interior design community, you're actually required to have a standard resume, a creative resume, and a portfolio. The portfolio shows all your work. The creative resume is something you bring to them in person, and the basic resume is something you submit online. This is my sort of creative resume, different stuff that you go about. And then my portfolio is I created in Canva because I love Canva, but the portfolio is something that you kind of combine all of the work you've done since your freshman year, especially if you're using SketchUp your freshman year, that kind of shows off the work that you've done. We do go through a ton of different designs. As it stands right now, I'm doing a hospitality project. I'm designing a day spa in a hotel right now, which is really fun and really interesting. So I'm excited to add that onto my portfolio as well. Once you get into the program, you'll probably start with something like this. It starts with like a tobacco barn coffee shop. I believe the freshmen this year did a kind of like a showroom of artwork for a specific client with a tobacco barn coffee shop. I believe I think they used adaptive reuse for that and kind of changed it to match what they needed. And you see rendered perspectives, which are really, really cool to see. As mentioned before, this is a technical program. I honestly wasn't ready for it, but you get used to it very, very quick, and you have a ton of help like it helps you kind of figure out what you need to do and what you need to get done. There's a bunch of things when it comes to wayfinding, a little bit of math, but not a ton. So if you suck at math like I do, you'll be fine, I promise. You have National Kitchen and Bath Association, which is something I mentioned before. They also hosted the KBIS event in Las Vegas, which was really, really cool. We did a bath or a kitchen for them. And this kitchen, you can actually submit your sophomore spring semester for, I believe the grand prize is $5,000, and you actually get to help the designers design whatever kitchen the client needs. So this is one of the sort of competitions that you can submit projects for, get different scholarships for, get grants for. And this is where most of the technical stuff starts coming in. You do a lot of dimensioning. You have to figure out how far does a GFCI outlet need to be from another outlet. And I know I'm talking crazy right now and you guys don't understand it, but it will make sense eventually. Integrated, you need to be able to space it right to where ADA accessibility is comparable, which ADA includes wheelchairs, any people that might be on crutches, anyone who needs additional help. So you have to make sure that you're designing for them as well. It's a huge thing in our field. There's also different lighting, GFCI outlets, like I've mentioned, and dimensioning, which seems very, very intimidating. And I know it looks intimidating, but I promise the program helps you. The professors are awesome, and you have so much additional help that it doesn't seem this hard. We did a showroom junior year, fall of 2021. We basically took Herman Miller Furniture, which is a huge luxury brand in the interior design world that designs a lot for offices and different aesthetics for them. You do a lot of technical stuff, floor and mechanical plans, elevation, circulation and duct work. And then we kind of went into aging in place. Aging in place is basically universal design. Universal design is just a way of saying designing for everyone. Everyone can use the space, no matter who you are, no matter what issues you may have, but you're able to use the space. And we did a condominium. We only did one apartment in a condominium where we did a base unit. And then Professor Gustina decided to give us different design styles. And I got Anglo-Indian. I'm telling you, I've never heard of Anglo-Indian until this year. So it definitely surprised me. But after the research and stuff is done, you come out with beautiful perspectives and different renderings that you can show off to different employers and such. And they love seeing this. As long as you know how to use the softwares, they love it. And then you have floor plans, you have your life safety plans and mechanical plans, you have your elevations, and you also do a plethora of hand drawings. And hand drawings seem intimidating, but these were my freshman year ones that I submitted with my portfolio. And as you can see, they do get better. They get a lot better over time. It comes with practice, and it seems like it's crazy, but you do a lot of hand drawings, which is huge in the interior design community now too. And then you kind of have an about me, but that's something that you submit with every single application you may have to someone. You also bring this, I brought this with me to the KBIS event and got offers left and right with it. You bring it to Gather/Scale and you get a ton of offers through that as well. So that's just kind of a base of like what an overall portfolio might look like your senior year once you were done with it.
Thank you. That's awesome. So somebody asks, do you need any prior experience or knowledge for the interior design?
Honestly, no. I honestly had none. The only thing I had ever heard of interior design was Joanna Gaines, HDTV. I think that's basically it, honestly. I came into the program not knowing much. The only background I really had was art, hand sketching, drawing, but that was just something I was interested in high school. But other than that, I mean, honestly, no. They'll teach you how to do everything. They'll teach you how to draw. They'll teach you how to put together beautiful rendered perspectives. It's just based on your creativity, to be honest. So. And if there's any questions for me, let me know.
Can you talk a little bit about your internship offers and your internship
For sure.
that you did? Yeah.
So I, since I'm from Virginia, I ended up not wanting to apply to places in Virginia. I kind of wanted to go as far as I possibly can with being able to travel back to my parents if needed be. I had 3 different offers between my junior and my senior year. One was located in Florida, Tampa, Florida, and then another one was located in Los Angeles, California. And then my other one was offered in Durham, North Carolina. For me, I was preferential to a smaller business as I want to own my own business one day. So working under someone who's still developing their business, it was important for me for it to be a smaller business rather than a bigger one. But you can always kind of get internships wherever you feel like. I worked for Carrie Moore Interior Design. You can actually look them up. I'm still on their page as an intern, but I was just offered a full-time position. So I will be working with them starting May 10th, I believe. May 11th. So that's really exciting. When it comes to internships, it is a little bit more difficult than I would say than the merchandising when it comes to it. If you go to Gather and Scale and kind of integrate yourself, it definitely helps. Networking is huge in the interior design community too. Knowing as many people as you can and having a positive attitude when you meet them is huge because they'll remember your name. But there's tons of companies hiring, and especially since interior design is getting so big so fast, there's a ton of job opportunities. All of my closest friends in my class have all gotten full-time positions. One of my students, or like, she's a really close friend, she worked for a company that designed the Jolly Roger here in Greenville, North Carolina. So she actually got to design her own office at her internship, which was really, really neat. Something she could add onto the portfolio as well. But I definitely suggest you get an internship. I wish I had gotten one earlier. I got mine between my junior and senior year. I wish I had gotten it between my sophomore and junior year, because the more people you know, the better you are off.
Thanks. We did have a question. It said, what skills are crucial to build for the work in interior design?
I would say the 3 biggest would be knowing software, which is, it seems like it's crazy, but you learn 4 major different softwares while you're in the interior design classes for this major. One of them being Revit, one of them being Chief Architect, and SketchUp, and then AutoCAD. A lot of businesses hire based on just what software you may know, which is really, really neat with kind of ECU, is you get to integrate yourself with all 3. One of the jobs that I was offered, they offered me the position because I was the only person that had Chief Architect on my resume. So having those softwares backing you is extremely important. I would say another skill would be hand drawing. Hand drawings get better as you go through the program. I'm telling you, like, mine were awful freshman year, sophomore year, but it gets better over time with the amount of times you do draw. A lot of interior design companies are kind of asking, instead of renderings, doing a quick hand drawing of what the space might look like. So it is important to have that. And I would say the last is probably to have a little bit of a mindset of memory when it comes to CETA requirements and ADA requirements. You do have pages and notes that'll give you those. But since it is very technical, you do have to figure out the spacing between island and cabinets and make sure it's ADA compliant so that someone can walk through that walkway. And when it comes to electrical, you need to make sure that an outlet is this far away from the wall so that you don't shock anyone in a kitchen. Memory is definitely important, but with the amount of times you kind of go over each technical skill and how far something needs to be away from each other, it just kind of becomes memory. So I would say those are probably the three biggest when it comes to the interior design major.
And I would also say, especially during your freshman year, being open to feedback, and not necessarily criticism, but just like helpful, constructive feedback, because your instructors want you to succeed and they want you to be successful as not only to get into the program, but as an interior designer. So they're going to be giving you that feedback in order to help you.
Yeah, I have about 5 or 6 students that I'm looking over right now when it comes to reviewing portfolios for the freshman submission. And I'm not going to say I'm the nicest person in the world. I definitely critique as much as I can to help you all to get through the review, because I mean, it's only 22 and I believe this year they have 40 that are submitting. I think it's 40 or 42 in total. So we do, being open to those types of critiques. I know it might seem harsh at first, but with this program, critiques are everything. And they also help you to be a better designer overall.
Any other questions? Oh, someone asked, are there assistants to get internships, or does the student need to find it on their own? I know for fashion merchandising, we do have you find them on your own, but we do have a list of previous places that our students have interned at, to help you kind of go from there.
It's the same basically with interior design. When it comes to alumnus though, because of how powerful ECU is as an overall community, it's amazing. I had alumnus reaching out to just me because I was an ECU graduate. So having those types of people that you can connect with on a regular basis is extremely important. I know for HHP, at least, you guys will probably see me again, because I know Mac wants to kind of integrate an alumnus comeback day to where we can come back and meet you guys. So networking with us and having those connections with people it makes everything in the interior design community, and it makes getting a job so much easier. But it's definitely finding the internship on your own.
We do prepare you for that though. So obviously in interior design, you have the internship and the portfolio you're building. On the fashion merchandising side, you take a pre-professional seminar class that helps with resume, interview skills, cover letter, and those types of things, how to network. So it's not like we're just like, hey, go find an internship on your own. We give you the tools and resources to do that. And then as an adult, it's up to you to go and pursue that. And you know, if you're motivated, you'll find one, no problem. It's you know, typically I see it's the students who kind of wait till the last minute.
There was another question of, since it is fairly competitive at the end of your freshman year to qualify for one of the 22 spots available, what percentage of students stick with the program for the full 4 years? Or how much of an adjustment is it for students, even with the assistance and guidance of staff? I do intended and declared interior design students, and just to make sure that I got your question right, for those that are accepted into the program, I have not seen anybody change their major like once they've been accepted into the program. But if you're asking about students that are intended, like if they get into, you know, the first 2 interior design classes, we have a handful or so maybe that change their major when they, you know, they get in there and they're like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. But once they're accepted into the program, I haven't seen anybody change their major yet. But yeah, we do get students in the beginning. So like students in their first 1180 and 1181 are the very first two interior design classes. They're going to start off much bigger than they're going to end. Like your cohort is going to seem much bigger your first fall semester of interior design classes than it will actually be in the spring. I mean, I wouldn't say like half. I would say, I mean, you know, I don't know. Kelly, can you help me?
I would say
I struggle with coming up with numbers.
Yeah. She's an English major,
Yes,
y'all,
I was an
so-
English major.
I would say, I mean, my freshman year when I went through portfolio review, I think we had about 89 students come into the program in the fall being intended. And by spring semester, we had tops 32. Tops 32. And I think all 32 of us went through portfolio review. So you do have people who end up dropping their intended that fall semester, but kids who usually stick with it usually get in either the first or second time. If you can make it through spring semester, that's usually what happens.
Are there any hands-on parts of the classes? Yes, all of the for everything, essentially. Corey can tell you about her time. We have computer labs. So we have the interior design studio labs that you'll be working in every semester. They're open labs, so you can go in after hours or, after, not during class times to work. So that's the most hands-on part. I know during freshman year, they also build little 3D models as well. So yes, very hands-on. For fashion merchandising, the textiles lecturing lab would be the most hands-on, but we have other experiential learning opportunities there as well.
Yeah, I can also speak on that too when it comes to just being hands-on. I mean, our professors are really, they really help us throughout the program. And I know Professor Christina, he's teaching the lower level classes. I actually had him for a year before he ended up teaching the lower level classes. And he's very hands-on with the kids. He'll walk around the classroom, kind of assist you while you're going through. If you have any questions, he'll ask you independently from everyone else, since the classrooms can tend to be a little bigger. But it's very hands-on. And if you have any questions, you can always come to the upperclassmen. We're very open about giving you guys advice and trying to get you guys through the program. So we're very hands-on too, in a sense. Only if you want it though. We won't be if you don't want it. But yeah, I would say overall, you have a lot of assistants. You have a lot of people that are backing you, and you have a lot of alumni that you can go to as well. That'll just assist you and get you through there.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. We really appreciate it. If you do have any other questions you want to ask in a smaller setting, we'll hang out for a few more minutes. Let me go through my quick important dates, and I'll also be sending a follow-up email. So if you're interested and you want to come see, our building and maybe some of the studio labs, March 25th is Pirates Admitted Students Day, or Pirates Aboard. So definitely come meet us, check us out there. April 1st, the final freshman priority application deadline. April 6th, registration will open for incoming honors college students and student athletes. And then registration will open up for all other incoming freshmen on April 24th. And you'll be getting emails from us and from either me, Kelly Dill, or HHP Advising. So make sure you're checking your email addresses, check your junk folders, check your ECU. You can go ahead and start checking your ECU student email account. And we'll be sending information there. There's a little intake form you have to fill out, and we'll get you assigned an advisor. And then transfer application deadline for summer is April 24th, and for fall it's July 3rd. And essentially, summer or transfer students can start registering with our current students now, just whenever they get admitted. So again, thank you very much, and we hope to see you soon.